Hi, good evening. Today's video is on huge demand on a particular topic that has been requested repeatedly on the comment section, which is how to improve my speaking skills. How do I speak confidently? How do I talk confidently? How do I speak English more fluently? So this is something that has repeatedly been coming on my feed, and I thought I should just deal with it in one of the videos. Although, first thing as a disclaimer, I would like to say that nothing, absolutely nothing can be done to teach you confidence. Confidence is something that lies with you. The key to speak confidently lies with you. That is something that we have to come to terms with. It's about learning any skill. It could be your drawing, art, dance, singing, or losing weight. The motivation, the confidence has to come with you, from you, and it lies with you. So this is something that we have to accept, and we have to start working towards that. So having said this disclaimer, I would still give away 10 practical tips to speak confidently, and this is something I do share with most of my learners in the first few classes. I don't repeat them and dwell on it too much, because when I start creating interesting classes and when I start setting motivations and goals quite in a practical manner, they start to speak confidently automatically, and fluency comes automatically. The first thing I would like to say is stop being a student. Yes, stop regarding yourself as someone who doesn't know how to speak. Don't tell yourself that you don't know to speak English properly, or you don't know something and you want to learn this, you want to learn that. Don't keep telling yourself. Of course you want to learn, that is very clear, but don't keep telling yourself that. So stop being a student. The moment you stop being a student, you start telling yourself that yes, I know a little bit. This is one thing I do in the first few classes, to tell them that everybody knows a bit of English, and I make them realize. I give them tasks, I give them exercises that tells them that makes them believe that they do know a little bit of English, which is quite the case in India, especially with everybody. Absolutely everybody I know knows some amount of English. My house help who comes home knows at least 4 words, uses at least 4 words, not just knows. She uses at least 4 words of English. Paper, pen, these are all English words, and you cannot say you don't know. I mean, the level may vary, how much you know differs, but everybody knows English. That's something that we have to accept. So stop being a student is the first thing I would like to say. And tip number 2 is never be afraid of making mistakes. Yes, it's very easy to say this. You've read this in a lot of blogs and books and a lot of videos that help you improve your confidence and fluency to say this, but the reality is this: never be afraid of making mistakes. One thing that could help you boost your confidence in this area is everybody makes mistakes. Yes, even a native speaker does make mistakes. It's just the degree, the number of errors are less with a certain person, and number of errors another person makes is probably more. And who decides these errors anyway? I mean, there's no right or wrong way to speak a language. Language is to communicate. So as long as you're understood, I think the purpose is solved. So never be afraid of making mistakes. Number 3 is listen. Listen a lot. This is a very practical tip, and this helps the most. Any language you want to learn, you have to listen to it a lot, which is why they say when you're forced to live in a place or a country where everybody is speaking a language that you don't know, you tend to speak that language faster, because you're listening to it a lot more and you're forced to speak. So this is something I tell my students as well. Listen to it. Today, if you're not in a situation where you are surrounded by English speakers, then you have technology at your hand. You can change all your cell phone instructions and your keyboards, everything to English. You can make the TV inputs, your television inputs to English, your audio and television to English. Stop using the subtitles, or if it helps, then use it in English. Use English subtitles. So these are things that you can force yourself to listen to English. Listen to English music. English music does help. And force yourself to surround yourself with speakers who speak English, who speak a little more of English than you do. So it really helps in that way. So listening to it is the key, especially for introverts who think that it's a lot, who are too shy to come out and talk. Listening really helps. And tip number 4 is use phrases or chunks of language to help you speak English more fluently and more confidently. So this is how it is done. You pick up phrases, small bits of language of a huge sentence, and memorize it, by heart it, and use it. Like happy birthday or good morning, good night. It might be very simple to you, but you can choose a phrase that is a little more complicated, like nice to meet you, and it could be, oh, I like what you're wearing. You might not even know the exact grammar behind it or things like that, but it's a very nice way to start your conversation and to start speaking. There are times when I used to say many more happy returns of the day when I was a kid without even knowing what it meant. I would just say anybody, many more happy returns of the day, many more happy returns of the day. So wherever I am, any celebration, and I meet anybody, I would say many more happy returns of the day. Even without me knowing what it meant, and it really helps. People thought I knew English. So that is all matters. And this is a small kid, 1-year-old kid, who comes up to you and says happy birthday or good morning, who waves to me good morning every morning I see her. She doesn't even know what's good, what's morning. So, but she says good morning, and that's all it takes to learn a language. When we learn another language like French or Spanish or anything which we see in television or the internet, we pick up these phrases from these languages, and we say, like a lot of them now say vanakkam, kolaveri. The word kolaveri became famous. People started memorizing it without even knowing what it meant. So that is a shortcut to learn language and feel confident. When you start using these phrases and these chunks of sentences, it gives you a lot of confidence. The next tip is learn vocabulary, learn new words. Yes, that is something that most trainers recommend. But what is essential is not just learning new words, but to use them. Unless you use it repeatedly, make it a point to keep using that word until you get familiar with it. Unless you use it in different situations, you will not know. You will not gain confidence over that word. For example, when this word called fantabulous, it is now part of the dictionary, but initially it started off as a slang word. So when people started saying fantabulous, you get attracted to it. I was attracted to that word because I wanted an alternative. I've used fabulous, I've used amazing, I've used fantastic, so I want another word. So a friend used this word fantabulous, and I started using this word, and I kept using it, repeatedly in the next few. When someone asked me how is this, I said fantabulous. How are you? I'm fantabulous. How is this book? Fantabulous. So the moment I used it repeatedly, now I know what that word means, and that's how you get familiarized with that word. So knowing is not enough. You have to start using it immediately. Otherwise, you would just lose the word. You will forget it. It's like remembering anybody's name. It's just as simple as that. So when you've picked up when you've learned someone's name, unless you use that word, use his name, you will forget his name. Unless you meet him and use that word, you will forget him. It's just as simple as that. Next step, very important. This is one thing that my students ask me right in the beginning, the first class. I don't know grammar. I want to learn grammar. Why do you need to learn grammar if you've come to learn spoken English? I mean, you need to know grammar. Yes, it's essential to not mix up tenses, or to know how to use your prepositions, or how to use adjectives in the right proportion, and how to use adverbs, where to use adverbs in a sentence. These are all essential, but that's not the key to speaking a language, or any language for that matter. This you can the proof for this is how you learn your mother tongue. You learn to speak it before you learn the grammar behind it. I know to speak Tamil, but I know zero of Tamil grammar, because I know to speak. I can speak fluently. I can converse with absolutely any Tamilian, and he would not realize that I'm not a Tamilian myself. So that is the importance that you give to grammar. Grammar is something that you learn to speak, and not something which is very important, as you think, as most learners think it is. Next tip is my favorite, and it has been my best friend. Mirror it. Whenever you feel the need to make a conversation, especially in the initial stages when you want to learn a language and you're presenting something in that language, it could be a business meeting, it could be a speech, or it could be your parents teachers meeting at the school, it could be just a coffee table conversation with your friend or your boss or your colleague or anybody. Just mirror it. Try picking up few phrases, few sentences, few lines, and try speaking in front of the mirror. You do not have to memorize it, and if you feel the need to memorize it, so be it. But I would ask you not to memorize the whole conversation, maybe phrases and chunks of it, and the key is to memorize it. See, each language has got a different facial expression, the way you move your lips and your mouth and the muscles. This is not how I would speak Tamil. Speaking Tamil has got a different body language and a different thing. Speaking French has got a different way of talking. You would have observed how it is on the television. See, if I'm trying to learn Korean, this is one language that I really want to learn because I'm watching a lot of Korean movies and Korean television serials. And there is a particular way they keep their faces and their mouths and their expressions, and it could be cultural, it could be physical, it could be anything. So try mimicking it. And this is I learned from another self-help book called The Secret. Fake it till you make it. So until you attain something, you get something, just fake it. Just imagine that you already have it. So try to make that face, try to fake it, and try to have that body language in front of the mirror and speak that, even if it's just good morning. You would have seen this in a lot of movies about how the boy or the girl goes in front of the movie and tries to propose to their the other half, their girlfriend or their boyfriend. So this really helps. And standing in front of the mirror and looking at your face, it is not just about the cosmetic purposes, about how your face looks. It's also about how you feel. It gives so much confidence at the end of it, and you feel like when you're actually doing it, you might not just say the exact words, but it gives that confidence, like you're doing it the second time or the third time or the fourth time. So you gain that confidence when you're doing it in reality. So make the mirror your best friend. It really helps. This is something that introverts might love. Apart from listening, if you're not the kind of person who would even gather the courage to speak in front of the mirror, read loudly. Yes, and preferably read loudly in front of the mirror. If you can't see yourself and if you have technical problems doing all that, but still just read loudly. However it is, just read loudly. If you're reading it could be the newspaper or it could be just an article. Not every bit of it, not like you're reading the news or something, but it could be just a word. Just read it loud. And that helps you move your mouth and the muscles around that area according to the language that you want to learn. For example, when I was trying to learn Tamil, I didn't know to read Tamil. Even now, I struggled reading Tamil, but I can speak really well. So when I'm trying to read Tamil, I read it loud. Not loud enough to be heard across the rooms, but loud enough to be able to hear it yourself. Like if there's a board, like a board on the bus that reads the destination, then if it's probably Trivandrum, then I would read it aloud. So when I'm actually reading it loud, it helps me give that little bit of confidence. So next time when I'm saying Trivandrum, I would say Trivandrum in just one stretch, without actually struggling to say that place near on ECR. I would not be hesitant. I would be very confident in saying that word. So say it aloud, even if it's a small word, not necessarily very loud, but just enough to be able to It really helps, and that's the best way to learn any new language. So read aloud. The last but one tip, and this is something that I've encouraged a lot of my students to do, and they have seen good results. No matter how much effort a teacher puts in, no matter how much effort you as an individual put in, the best way to learn is peer learning. Peer learning is underestimated in a lot of circumstances, but I personally give a lot of importance to it. Peer learning is nothing but being able to learn as friends. So you choose your set of friends. It could be in the classroom where you're learning that language, or it could be outside. It could be your colleagues, it could be your friends from college, it could be anything. Just form a group where you learn a language, learn English together. So you make that effort together and you learn it as friends, as a group. Form something like how we teachers form a special interest group. So each teacher has a special interest. Like my interest is pronunciation, so I would form a set of friends who are equally interested in pronunciation, and we would keep discussing things about this on a particular frequency. So you can form a group like that and be forced to speak in English, so that whenever you're speaking to that person, you're not judged. Most of the times people don't speak confidently or fluently because of the fear of being judged. They think that, if I make an error, that person might think that, I don't know English, and since it's often related to social status, he might think that I am not eligible to be part of his social status or image that it creates in a society. So when you have a set of friends where you're practicing to learn, you're not being judged. This is also something that we have done well during school days. We have a set of friends with whom we sit and learn together, and we make mistakes and we fail, we don't fail, we pass, we get very good marks. There might be competition, but it's still healthy. We are friends at the end of the day. So this really helps. The advantage is you learn together, you're not being judged. The disadvantage is when you make an error, you don't even realize that you're making an error. So that could also be possible, but nevertheless, the advantages weighs more in this method. So try it, and it really helps increasing your confidence, because you're constantly speaking that language and you have a friend speak it with. So it really helps. The last tip, and it's the most important tip, is create an attractive motivation for you. If you don't have one, create one. And this is something I do in the first day of my class, is to set their goals very clear. You can't be just learning a language just like it. I mean, you can, but you will not be able to get the results. You will not be able to speak confidently. You will be still stuck looking at pages and watching videos, but you will not be able to speak utter a word in that language. So the first thing, and you should get it straight, is have your goals, have your motivation, have your needs very clear. As a teacher, I do my needs analysis, and people with very strong goals are the ones who learn the language most quickly. I mean, they are the ones who learn the fastest. There have been instances like there are boys who says, I want to speak English to woo my girlfriend. There are girls who say, I want to learn English to emigrate to Canada. There are speakers who want to speak English because they want to attend an exam. There are speakers who want to learn English because they want to sound like a native English speaker. Yes, there are people who say that when they speak to me on phone, I want to sound like I'm from the UK. So there are a lot of requirements. It could be as different and varied as possible, to each his own, but what matters is to have one. You should have a very clear and attractive motivation. The more attractive your motivation, the faster your route to learning language, especially English. This is a set of tips that I put together. Some tips that have practically worked for me, practically worked for my set of learners, and some others that have worked for others and have discussed it with me. And I've put all of them together, and I gave away some 10 tips. There might be more, and like I said, I generally do this on an on-off basis during my classes, not on a regular basis, but not something that I thrust on them, but something that just as an add-on, and just keep in between my classes. But the key, like I said, is have a very attractive goal, motivation, and never be afraid of mistakes, And absolutely, almost everything that I said today was essential to feel confident while speaking English. Try these tips for yourself, and if it helps, do let me know. And if it doesn't, again, let me know. And if there's something more that you have in mind and you want to let me know, just do let me know. Keep the conversations going. It's your feedback and your comments that have given me ideas to come up with more and more videos. Like, share, subscribe, comment, keep commenting, share ideas, exchange ideas. Happy exchange learning.